We're the Wildlanders Off Grid, a family homesteading in remote, rural Portugal. We left our city lives behind to connect with nature and live a more sustainable lifestyle. From growing our own food to learning how to build our own tiny house. Follow our journey as we build a new life for ourselves. Welcome back to the Wildlands.
The last week of our 40-day challenge, hooray!
So we're going to carry on with the toilet. So the first thing to do is we're going to try and work out if we can get the roof on with the short ladder. If not, we still have to wait for a long ladder before we can finish the roof, which was at the end of last week's episode where you saw us putting up the long drop compost toilet. So today, as well as trying to get the roof on, we're going to start shingling. So I'm going to show you how to make shingles out of pallets. I'm going to shingle the whole thing in pallets, and I've also got to make a door as well. And
I'm going inside to paint it bright blue, and then you've got to make somewhere to sit in the toilet. The most crucial part.
Yeah, the throne of the crapper, the luxury outdoor crapper. So first of all, we're going to get Missy up on the ladder, and she's going to see if we can get the roof on. So that's the end of day one of part 2 of our long drop compost toilet build. So how'd it go?
It was frustrating quite a lot of the time until we figured out what we were doing, and then I think it looks really nice. I think it looks super cute. I love the colours of the wood. I like the new longer pattern that we've gone for.
Yeah, I think if we were doing a house and we had house wrap underneath and we were particularly concerned about containing damp and so on, it would be better. So leaning in front of you, it'd be better to have maybe half the overlaps.
Yes.
But watched a few videos, and a 3 centimetre 1 inch overlap is quite acceptable.
Yeah, and we've got an overhang on the roof, so there'll be less rain falling on it, and it only falls on it for a few months of the year anyway. I really like it. It's gone good.
And then at the window we decided to make these bits here short, as you can see where we've got the long ones at either end, and then we'll have to do the same up the top here, and then we'll put a windowsill in and make it look pretty. And then it's worth mentioning as well, at the very end when we've finished all the cladding, we're gonna treat the wood with wood preserve and a stain to make it a little bit darker and bring out the grain. So very nice. So I think we've got about another 300 bits of pallet to cut.
Gosh, that's nuts. But that's the end of day 1.
Yep.
Because now it's time to go and chop the logs for the wood burner, wash up, cook dinner.
And drink beer.
All the fun stuff.
And wine.
Wine.
So we've finally borrowed a ladder. We'll get the roof up. As you can see, it's resting at the top. So Missy's now got the arduous task of going up said long ladder, screwing the roof on. And then yesterday, while we were waiting to get a ladder, I spent the afternoon cutting 150 shingles. So I think we need just under 300. So I probably need about another 80 or so to cut. But we've got enough to do the front, the rest of this side, and probably starting the other side. So that's today's chore. But first you've got to go up there, haven't you? So yeah, I always get the longer straw because I don't like ladders at all because I get vertigo. So you always get that exciting job, don't you? So let's get on with that then. So on a new day at the Wildlands, but we've had to stop our cladding because we had an attempted break-in on the chickens last night. Wasn't a particularly bad attempt, but it was an attempt nevertheless. So here you can see where this is dug up. They pulled away the chicken wire at the bottom and broken some of it, and then also round to my right there's another place where something's been digging. Not sure if it was a fox. It didn't look very fox-like really. It's not, they're quite renowned for sort of biting their way through chicken wire. Those of you that keep chickens will know you're not really supposed to rely just on chicken wire, which is why we've also got our lovely wattly type fencing behind it. So what we're going to do first before we do anything else is get it repaired, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, just make sure that if they come back they have to work all over again. And our chickens were never in any danger. We're not actually that worried about the chooks because they were safe and sound inside their wooden coop, which the door was shut on, and the coop is inside. And the coop is inside another secure pen with smaller chicken wire, so even if a fox got through this fence, he wouldn't get the chickens.
No, and it is one thing that all chicken keepers do once a week, maybe even more. I patrol the inside and look for any damage to the fence. And they'd also knocked over this light as well. But it looks like they were more having kind of a rootle around in the bed more than anything.
Maybe they weren't even trying to get to the chickens. Maybe it was something daft, like a cat or a mongoose or something, just digging for grubs, and they happened to catch the wire and pull it.
Yeah.
Like you say, it wasn't a really concerted effort. It wasn't shredded or anything.
But nevertheless, it has pointed out that some of the fencing is rusted at the bottom, so let's get repairing.
That long in the end, just a couple of patches. We twisted all the wire in at the top where it didn't really fit, and lots of staples. Nice new soil out here, and the bonus we've discovered by doing this is it means the chickens won't actually be able to fit their heads through the fence anymore to eat all the plants that we're trying to grow for them. So we're going to fill this with seeds in the spring, all sorts of greenery that chickens like to eat, so we can pick them and feed them. And then the patch at the back worked very well. We just put logs there to discourage the chickens from digging it straight back up again. We've checked all the rest of the perimeter and there's no other rusty fencing or anything like that. So that's another job done on the wildlands.
So thwarted really, bit of a crap day. I'm a little bit pissed off, to be honest. So the nail gun, which is an Einhell, we had the same problem on the previous nail gun, so don't ever buy an Einhell nail gun, absolute rubbish. So it's a compressor based nail gun, just shooting the nails in. So we got up, you can see that high, and there's some manky screws here. And then the nail gun wasn't shooting the screws in far enough, so we took it apart, fiddled around for hours, tried different things, went online, tried to solve it. Long short is nail gun is broken, so we're going to have to nail it manually with a hammer, so we've wasted a great part of the day.
But it worked perfectly for all the other ones. We were going great guns, weren't we?
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang,
Yeah,
bang.
yeah.
And then it just decided it wasn't going to work anymore, and we can't seem to figure out why. There's no obvious sign of, you know, like this is a defect, so we'll just...
It's exactly what happened to the previous nail gun. So we bought a nail gun for the cabin, we used it for a couple of weeks, but didn't do anywhere near the amount of nailing that it should have been able to do. It broke, we sent it back, we never got a refund, but we bought a new one, so we've effectively paid for 2 nail guns. This one was almost new, so we used it minimally on the cabin. Anyway, so not a problem. We'll have to carry on without the nail gun. So we don't have any nails as the next trauma, so I've got to drive into town, which is at least an hour there and back, to get 1,000 or so nails, and then it does add to a bit to the time with the bashing them in, especially when you go up a ladder.
Yes, also you won't be able to hold your thing, your plank of wood, and nail it, because you'll have to hold a nail. So I think maybe somebody here on the floor can put it down, bash 2 nails part way in, pass it to the person up the ladder so they can finish it, so we need an extra hammer as well.
So I'll go off into town and get some nails.
Yeah. And I managed to get the roof up, so I'm really, really happy that the second half of the roof is done, and I went up the precarious ladder. So thanks very much, Stephen and Marlin, for lending us your ladder. It's fabulous. We really should buy one for ourselves, shouldn't we?
We should get
nice
a long ladder.
Yeah. I wasn't overly keen on it because the middle, as you go up, because it's at an angle, like, well, I don't know what degrees
It
that is.
had to be at
It's a
that
lot.
angle because of the overhang.
I had to go under the roof, yeah, exactly. So then it was a bit boingy, boingy, and
It was a lot of wobbly ladder when we used it on the cabin and Paul was going up it in his sandals. It was life-threatening.
Yeah, it was a little bit scary, but I'm really pleased that I've done it and I've screwed everything down, so that's the roof done. Hooray!
Woohoo! You might remember in a past episode we got given this beautiful, much larger orange tree from Mrs. Dad. So thanks again, Mrs. Dad. And as you can see, it's fruited and we've got 16 lovely oranges, and it's our first orange tree on the wildlands to give us any fruit. So I'm going to pick all them and I'm going to juice them. And I'm picking them all even though they could stay on the tree for a bit longer. If you can see, the leaves is starting to suffer with the frost that we've been having. So if I can get the fruit off, then we can give it a bit of a fleece wrap, I think. So I'm just going to chop them off. Hello, Bob. Oh, say hello to our viewers. Hello, everybody. I don't like being picked up. Who's a good boy? You can see they're quite small, but I think they're going to be super juicy, but I'll show you that in a minute. I'll put them in our juicer and you can see what they're like. Super exciting is in this wheelbarrow I've got an order from our friends in Ireland, Gardens for Life, and it's a lot of perennial bulbs such as these Jerusalem artichokes. What's very exciting is giant elephant garlics and all kinds of black currants and cuttings for us to root for our nursery. So before I squeeze my oranges to make myself a lovely orange drink, sit by the log burner and warm my cold hands, I've got to pop these up ready for spring and or put them in sawdust to protect them over the winter. So I'm really excited about the elephant garlics. Got quite a few to go in the ground there. All right, Bob, got my helper here. He just always wants attention. He's got a big purr on, I don't know if you can hear that. All right, buddy. And most of you will be familiar with Bob now. He was feral and it took him 2 years to talk to us, but as you can see, he's got over that now and he's a big friend. So Bob, poor chap, he's got to go to the vets after Christmas to have his cluster removed because he's been fighting with a neighbour's cat who has just had his cluster removed, and we want Bob to stop roaming around too much because sometimes he goes away for days on end. He's also been visiting some of our other neighbours' cats, who are lady cats. Yeah, we know all about what you're up to, Bob, but that's going to come to an end in the new year. That's sad, isn't it? Cluster-free, Bob. Now, can I get on with my gardening? Can I? I'd rather you didn't roll in my garlics. Hey, stop that. So I've had to move into the polytunnel with my friend Bob, who's very kindly squirting my plants with his stink. Nice, Bob, nice. So I've had to move in here because it's just started raining, which is good news because it hasn't been raining for about a month. So my next chore or job is I've got 3 different types of currant cuttings. Thanks, Bob. And generally these are very easy to root, so you get a cutting with the buds facing upwards, and they're usually 6 or 8 inches long, and you want to put about 3/4 of that length, certainly half, into a pot and then label up, and you should start seeing some growth activity in April, and you probably get fruit in the 2nd year, but very minimal, and then in the 3rd year you'll have enough to make some jams. So I've got 3 different types here, white, red and black, so I'm just going to pop them on in pots and overwinter them outside, and then see what happens to them early next year. So I think we're going to need several pots, but I'm going to put them close together because I only want them to get some roots, and then I'll repot them in spring. So that's what that looks like. So that's probably about half. And they're Birdland black currants. Really simple, just make sure your buds are pointing upwards. And Bob's your auntie. Just firming them down to make sure that you've got soil contact. Take some soil out of here and just sprinkle it on the top, I think. And these ones are red currants, exactly the same, buds up. And if you've got a lot like me, you could also put them out in beds in your garden, in which case you probably want to put them about 12 inches apart. There we go, all done. Lots of currants ready to root. So next I've got salt bush cuttings. They need a rooting hormone to help them root. So I'm not going to show you me planting all of these because I've got loads to do. So I'm just going to do the salt bush, and then I'll go up and I'll squeeze my freshly picked oranges, which I'm really excited about. So I've got the remaining plants in the new food forest, the nursery garden, and they're plants that need to go in the ground. So it's a marshmallow, so I'm going to put that there, and that gets quite big, and it's the roots of the marshmallow, these actual roots here, that marshmallows come from. So there's quite a bit of digging, so I'm just going to go spread them out so he can go there. And as I mentioned earlier, very excited about our giant elephant garlics. As you can see, quite a few in the bag here, and way bigger than a normal garlic. Look at those. So they need to be planted 4 to 8 inches deep in rows. I'm just going to put them in loose clumps like I have. They get quite large, need a bit of space, but we're, as you know from previous episodes, we're planting things very close here, so I'm going to stick them in as well. A few more weeds to come out. I'll just pop them there, might as well. Daubenton's kales. Few roots on the bottom, but again cuttings, they can just go straight in the ground here. So again I'll put them in a clump, get these poxy weeds out again, and we will be mulching here. I should really come round with a hoe, it would be much quicker. And lastly I've got marsh woundwort, which is a bit of a strange plant because we've got sort of shooted roots here which would have been just below the ground. And I'm just going to lay them almost on the soil and then just give them a loose covering. They like to be planted very shallow, and again a medicinal perennial. So I think for now I'll just stick them in a row along here. So next, got me elephant garlics. Very excited about those, as I've already said. And they want to go 4 to 6 inches, even 8 inches in the ground, 10 or 12 inches apart. They get quite big. Now we're currently in December when I'm planting these. Ideally you'd want to be putting your bulbs in the autumn, October, maybe November. Doesn't matter though, just means that they may not get a big enough bulb to split into multiple bulbs, because obviously these have already been split by Gardens for Life. So you've got a single large bulb, and what you want is the frost to get it, and then the bulb will split and give you a really big bulb with 7 or 8 little bulbils, or not so little bulbils, all joined together like this for a big harvest of elephant garlics. But no matter, put them in the ground any time of the year, and if they don't split in that year, then they'll split the following year, and they've got nice flowers. The foliage is attractive, so I'm just going to put them in rows in this sort of area here. I've made 2 labels, so I know that I'm planting in between the 2 labels. I'm just going to start somewhere in front of the lemon balm, so I'm just going to start putting them on the ground so I know roughly where to dig. There's quite a few to put in, and I'm just going to estimate my gaps. Maybe I'm going to go for a little bit less than 12 inches. Just see how many I've got. Right, so I've done all my planting. I'm now back at my oranges. Look at those. Wow, they do look juicy. Nice. That's beautiful. Happy about that. So we've got 16 oranges in total, and then at some point before spring, whilst it's still a good time to plant trees, we're going to plant it down by the new long drop toilet once we clear that area up, and then it will be near the new nursery as well. So I'm really enjoying those. Hopefully next year we'll get more than 16 and even more. So my next job is a job that I'm very excited about, and it's setting up our Yabba projector. So Missy and I really do like to watch a film or a series together. We haven't been able to do that for a while, so we decided to get ourselves a projector. So we reached out to Yabba and said, we're off grid, how do you fancy give us a projector? And they went, yes. So here it is. And it's a thing of beauty really, because it's got a JBL speaker inside. I do like a JBL sound system. Dolby surround. I'm going to project onto this 60-inch screen, and we're going to watch film together later. It's also something we do with Rosie as well. So it's a really cool kit. So you can mount it on a tripod, you can hang it off the ceiling, you can turn that round and rest it like that to get an extra angle. So as I mentioned a moment ago, it's got JBL speakers inside with Dolby surround, so it sounds great. As well as it obviously using that sound when it's projecting, you can also use it as a Bluetooth media player, so you can play your MP3s off your phone or off your music apps straight into here once it's connected up. You can also do the reverse, and if you wanted to have a really big cinema sound, you could take the sound from your film out of here via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi into, say, a larger JBL or a different speaker system, have it positioned underneath your screen. And then on the back you've got a number of inputs and outputs, so you can connect up a laptop or PC on HDMI. You've got USB ins and outs, and you've also got an audio out and a SATA in out as well. But I think generally speaking most people use it like us, and you can go onto your phone or your tablet or even your laptop, and then you can mirror the image from your favourite app, Netflix, whatever, onto here, and then set it up on the projector screen, which is what we're going to do in a moment. So let's have a look and see how easy that is to do. So we've got the Yabba all set up. It's very easy to do. So we put it onto our YouTube here, and there is a Yabba app on the Google Play Store in our case. Same for your iPhone. Go into the store, download the app, and then from there you can watch a film on your phone via your favourite app. In our case we're using Netflix, and then you can mirror the Netflix app from the phone through the app over to here, and then it projects it on the screen. So therefore you can basically watch anything off any app, be that BBC iPlayer and so on, and project it on the screen, and then as a family sit down and watch a nice film together, which we really enjoyed. And it's something that we're going to do every week. One night a week we're going to have film night. I'm really looking forward to that through the winter months. We can have a log burner on, nice fire going, huddle around that, hats on, projector on, nice cold beer, great. So nearly Christmas.
We get excited.
It is very exciting, and we had great fun with the Yabba last few days.
Oh,
We watched
yeah.
a couple of Christmas films.
Yeah, that's been fantastic.
So yeah, really pleased with that.
They're really
Highly
cool.
recommended,
Yeah.
genuinely recommended.
Yeah, I think my favourite thing about it is that I know it's a lot bigger than your average, some people have the teeny tiny ones, but it's got those great speakers. So you can just lift it up and stick it down there and you've got everything ready to go.
Yeah, having the JBL speakers and Dolby surround, fabulous sound when you
Yeah.
turn it up nice and loud. Which is
Easy
great.
to use too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
cool.
So how did we do? We're nearly at the end of the 40-day challenge. We actually kind of didn't quite do the last few days because we got involved in wrapping presents and Christmas and so on.
Well, there was other stuff, wasn't it? The heater in the van breaking and things like that, that sort of delayed things. It kind of petered out a little bit instead of coming to like being the last day of work or whatever. But I don't care because I think we did really, really well.
So we didn't get some of the things achieved that we said at the beginning of the video. So where are we at?
Where are we at? So we didn't paint the inside blue, but we will.
Yep.
You didn't make the seat box, but you will.
Didn't get the door done.
No. We did a lot of shingling.
We did.
And the roof and everything. So
So we had gone into town to get the wood for the door, which you can see leaning up there.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to use the OSB. So we've got the door, part of the door frame is on. So it's really just cutting the door to size. It's probably not a long job, it's probably a couple of hours work. So there's not actually much to do. We've got the other side to shingle, so we'll come back next year and get this finished. Probably about a week's work, I think.
We've actually been talking about the potential for doing, setting ourselves another little challenge because it has been so motivating for us. It's really helped us. We get up in the morning, we're like, right, what are we going to tick off the list today? What jobs are we going to do? Instead of taking it easy and, you know, I think it's been a good motivator, having a list and time to do it in. So I think next year we'll probably do another little, maybe not 40 days, maybe 20 or 30, a smaller
3
amount.
days. A 3-day challenge.
Yeah. Because obviously we really, really want to push on with Rosie's cabin. And if you don't have a time limit on it, it's like, we could do that today, but we could do it next week. And I'd like to just get everything blitz through the upstairs and then she can start using it.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So talking of things of that nature, we're taking a couple of weeks off for Christmas. So we're not going to have a video out probably for 3 or 4 weeks maybe. So I'm actually quite excited about that because it takes a lot of effort to edit.
Yes.
Looking forward to enjoying Christmas with Missy and family as well. So it's super exciting.
Yep.
And if you guys celebrate Christmas or holidays in some form, have a wonderful time. Super excited, aren't we?
Yeah, chickens are excited.
Yeah, chickens have got presents.
Yeah, there's 20 little stockings hanging up.
So thanks for all your support this year on Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, and generally subscribing to our videos,
Just watching our videos. It's so lovely to see you out there watching our videos and enjoying it and offering advice and suggestions and cheering us on. That's really nice.
It is fab. So thanks very much.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you soon.